Hi, boys and girls. Thanks for joining me today. Let's read a story together. I found one called Bear Gets a Hat. It reminds me of the word work lesson that we did earlier this week when we studied the at word family. Before we read the story, let's take a look at some power words. And when we take a look at power words, we know that our goal is to read them at flash speed and to have them memorized in our brains so that we can say them very quickly. When we look at the power words, I'm going to say a word and then you wait and say it after me. We'll take turns. I'll say it, then you say it. I have me go like will with to come yes do this not you get that want it we here that one. Boys and girls, if any of those words were really tricky for you, you can rewind this video and we can do it all again together. Now let's practice some phrases. We want to be fluent when we read phrases. They're not complete sentences, but they're parts of sentences. I will say it first, then you say it. Boys and girls, let's make sure that our eyes are on the screen when I'm reading it and when you are reading it. Try to say not only the words that I say, but also the way that I say it. I'm going to try to use some expression where it makes sense to. I'll say it, then you say it. I have to get. Do you like? That is not. Will you come? Here we go. That is a. With me. I want one. Now let's take a look at our book, Bear Gets a Hat. It's by John Bianchi. I can tell by looking at the front cover that Bear is a character in this story, as well as Bird. I can also tell that it's a fiction book. That means made up or fantasy. A bear would never really have a hat on his head, nor would either of those animals have a shopping cart. Bear Gets a Hat. Boys and girls, there are speech bubbles. We love books with speech bubbles. Remember all of those Mo Willems books that we read together and those characters had speech bubbles? This one is just like that. I can see that the setting in the story is outside on a nice sunny day because I see a blue sky, I see some bushes or trees, and I see a ground that's maybe a little bit of a dirt path. Let's start with what Bear is saying. I have to get a hat. Will you come with me? Yes. Now I saw what Bear said ended in a question mark, so I asked it like I was wondering, will you come with me? And then I saw that Bird, what he said, ended in an exclamation mark. So I tried to say that with some excitement. Yes. Here we go. I know Bird said that because the speech bubble is coming out of Bird's head. Do you like this one? Oh, boys and girls, look what's on his head. Bird says, that is not a hat. That is a duck. Do you like this one? That is not a hat. That is a turtle. Now, if I didn't know the word turtle, I would use my strategy of using the beginning sound of the word, that initial consonant, and I see that it's a T, and T says T. So I would look at my picture for something that started with T, and I would see a turtle. and I would know that that makes sense in my sentence. That is a turtle. Do you like this one? That is not a hat. That is a cupcake. Oh, poor bear. Do you like this one? Yes, I want one. Here you go. I like it. Oh, boys and girls, poor bird, he can't even see. That seems to be a problem. There's the list of power words that we reviewed in the beginning. You can pause this video and take a look at those words again if you like. But let's talk now about the characters in the story. I know that Bear was a character. I'm going to write Bear and label it right next to his picture. And I know that Bird was a character. So I'm going to put Bird on my paper and write the word bird right next to the picture of the bird. I'm also going to write a complete sentence at the bottom that says that characters are Bear and Bird. Now let's talk about the setting. Remember we said that we could tell what the setting was just by looking at the pictures? The setting was outside on a nice sunny day. We could see clouds, bushes, and the ground. And I wrote a sentence at the bottom that says the setting is outside in the daytime. Now let's talk about the problem. Most fiction books have a problem. They're a made-up story, and the author makes a problem that we would be interested in reading about. In this book, Bear had a problem when he was looking for a hat. The first thing he did was put a duck on his head. That's a problem. I put the picture on my paper and I wrote the word duck. Then he put a turtle on his head. That's still a problem. I put that on my paper in a nice picture and I also wrote the word turtle. Then I added a picture of yet still another problem where he put a cupcake on his head and I labeled that picture with the word cupcake. I'm also going to write a sentence at the bottom that says, the problem was that Bear put things on that are not hats. The solution in a fiction book is how the problem was solved. Bear finally found a regular hat for his head. I'm going to label that picture hat. And I'm going to write a sentence at the bottom that says, Bear finally found a real hat. Now this book does what fiction books sometimes do, and that is it leaves us at the end with another problem just starting. The author leaves it up to our imaginations to figure out what we think might happen next. This new problem that was starting was poor Bird with a hat on his head that was much too large. Just like Bear didn't seem aware of his problem earlier in the story when he was putting all of those strange things on his head, Bird doesn't seem quite aware of his problem right now either, since I remember in the story he said that he liked it. I think Bird needs a hat that's a little bit smaller. What do you think? At the bottom of this page I wrote, "Oh no!" with an exclamation mark to say it with excitement. Let's talk about your to-do list for after this video is ended. You can practice power words, read a fiction book, that means a made-up story. You can talk with your family about the characters, the setting, the problem, and the solution that were in the story. You can draw and label those things. And you can write a sentence, just like I did. Now, if you're looking for some good books to read, everyone at Eastview has access to a website and app called Bookshelf. There's a couple ways that you can find the Bookshelf website and app. If you haven't done so already, I'm going to show you. You can type www.arcbookshelf.com in your web browser. You can also put in a Google search that says ARC Bookshelf. ARC stands for American Reading Company. And then you can click on the choice that says ARC Bookshelf. The third way is that there is an app that is free and you can put it on your phone or tablets, and it's called Arc Bookshelf if you search for it in the App Store. When you get to the website or app, you see the sign-in page. Every student at Eastview has an email or username and a password to log into their account. All students have their own account. The username looks like an email, but it's not really an email. If you don't have your username and your password, ask your teacher. When you go into the website or app, you can see all the different levels on the left-hand side. Here is a group of initial consonant books. Here's a whole bunch of books in the yellow level. It says there's 194 books in the yellow level. Here's a group of books that are in the 1G level. 137 books are available. And here's a group of books in the 2 green or the 2G level. 117 books that you can scroll through. And here's some books in the 1B level or the 1 blue level. It says that there's 80 books in this level. Boys and girls, I'm sure you're going to find a lot of books that you enjoy inside of this Arc Bookshelf app or website. Thanks for joining me for today's lesson. I just love learning with you. Have a good day.